Hello and welcome to another Tuesday talk with Ruby Reese. Shortly, I will be joined by Rob Wlashe, also known as the Irish Dogfather, to talk about the topic of managing multiple dog households. As always in this format, we will be keeping things really informal and chatty. So we will be making generalizations that might not necessarily apply to you, your dog, or your own situation. So if you do have any concerns, please do speak with a certified professional. Loads of people joining in on the live already. Just going to wait for a minute for Rob to join as well. Also, just so people know, I do try to give quite a lot of my attention to the speaker that's coming on to share their experiences. But if you do have questions, I do happen to see some of the questions that come through. So if you have any questions during the talk, I do see some of them as they're popping up. So feel free to pop them into the chat as well. I think Rob is now in the chat and I sent an invite there, so hopefully he'll be able to join in as well. Hello, Rob. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming on and joining me.
Hopefully my
1 second now. I can't hear you quite yet. Can you repeat that?
This Jack.
I'm hoping the connection's is just heating up along the way. I'm hearing you a little bit in and out.
How better?
Way better. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Don't worry at all about dogs barking in the background. It's likely to happen on my side as well. We're all dog families here, so it's all good. Would you do us the pleasure of introducing yourself?
Yes. So my name is, and probably nearly 13 years running a company called the Dogfather, and we do training, dog walking, and we also kind of do we clients' dogs as well when they go on holiday. We're kind of everything nearly, like, but yeah, mostly it's dog training. What I kind of specialize in.
Very good. Very good. And for people that don't know me yet, I'm Killian from Ruby Reese. We set up our brand just over a year ago, launched last May, and are delighted to be part of the Irish dog community now. So just launching into the topic of managing multiple dog households. It's a fascinating topic you chose. And I suppose one place that I'd love to start is, what do people worry about most when they're planning maybe adding a second dog to the family? What's the initial worry that people start out with?
Always that, there'll be a dog on. And it's quite, normal and to have that concern as well, because as well you have to remember that your first dog is priority and that you never want to stress the dog, and it's something that, like, you have to be very careful. You don't want to throw the original dog's life up in the air, and it's kind of a stressful situation for him. So I always say that your initial is the priority, that, the puppy, it's new and it's goodly and all. First dog has to be the priority. And if it's not going well, I would say that, like needs and wants of your first dog, if it's not going well, then, that's a bridge that you will have to cross. And it's one reason that rescuing and working with charities is really good. Not only can you kind of ease your you also have the staff on site.
I think there's a couple of people messaging there saying that the audio is coming and going quite a bit. Is it a mobile you're using? Could you move it slightly?
My AirPods, maybe that.
Yeah, no problem. We have time. People are patient. As long as people can hear, we'll be totally happy.
I think is that better?
Absolutely
better.
Yeah. So much better. And the information you're sharing with us is so valuable. It's definitely worth the wait and worth getting right.
Awesome. So my point was, before the audio guff came in, that I really need people to kind of understand that your first dog or your original dogs, when you're adding in a new dog into the mix, they are the priority. And that one of the main reasons why I really urge people to, seek good breeders or good charities is that, there's training staff on hand, or if it's not working out, a good breeder will always, try and rehome the dog themselves and not kind of leave you, for lack of a better expression, up shit's creek with a new dog. Frankie.
And don't worry about Frankie. He's totally fine. I might have, this might be a very old-fashioned question, but
yes.
Let's just talk. Hello, Frankie.
Oh, this is Harry. This is my new puppy. So this is why this topic was kind of at the top of my mind, because I'm going through it now with this little munchkin, and he's from the DSPCA. He is a Jack Russell Chihuahua and absolutely mental. So he's putting me through the works at the moment.
I can imagine, and especially with the mix of those two breeds, I can.
He's full on.
He's stereotype.
Yeah, he's either asleep in my lap or doing cartwheels all over the house.
Teaching a new form of cardio. And my old-fashioned question was going to be about hierarchies in dogs. Like, do they actually exist? Is one to expect that the dog that's previously in the family is going to rule the roost, or will want to rule the roost, or is that kind of a little bit outdated? And
I would definitely say that's outdated.
Okay.
There's certain things that you would kind of have to be careful with, like say your original dog's favorite toy. You're not going to leave that on the ground down below and, let the puppy, start going to town on it. So there's kind of subtle little things you can do to kind of avoid issues or conflict areas. So you kind of controlling feeding time, I'm a massive proponent. I would never feed dogs out in the open. Now, half of that is because we have dogs that aren't ours in the house a lot. There's dogs that are staying when their owners are on holidays and that kind of stuff. So I would always crate dogs when they're being fed, just because it's much safer. You don't have any room for, issues. Also, one of my dogs, Frankie, is the biggest pig ever and will try and, steal everything's food. He devours his food as quick as possible, and then we'll try and, find any other food possible. Yeah. So it just keeps every dog safe if, feeding time is in a really, really controlled, safe environment. And also when it's playtime, if I'm, letting the dogs have food and whatnot, that's under control as well. They're toys that I know they're not going to have too high value. They're not going to be any bones or anything like that. You want to kind of keep everything neutral and keep it fair. So, if you're taking toys out, however many dogs you have, you're going to make sure that everyone has their own toy and kind of try and keep it that way. Like,
Yeah.
don't let anyone try and get, stealing and that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah. Exactly, because that's going to just to kind of bring in negative relationships.
Yeah, well, just like you've potential issues for conflict there when you have like a resource, and a resource can be anything to a dog. Like, but most kind of obedient trained pets, it'd be high value things that you need to watch, such as a bone, food, really really exciting toys, squeaky toys. Sometimes can tap into certain breeds, but
So would it be like as a massive oversimplification, but is it in its most pure basic form? Don't let resource guarding come into play because
don't even initially for the first couple of months, don't even let that come on the horizon.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's up to you to make sure that the dogs are safe. Like, and you can't throw your hands in the eye if they have it, or your hands in the air if they have a scrap over, food that you threw down and you weren't aware it was there, or a toy that was maybe too high value for your dogs to be around. Like, another thing is to kind of have like split up times for training. So that, even though there's a new dog in the mix, like, you don't let the house become chaotic and you don't let routines fall. You still need to make sure that your original dogs are getting, their positive reinforcement training, and, maybe some, solo games or solo walks, like, and you shouldn't let the old dog's life be completely thrown out of whack because you have a new dog. And, it's another reason why I know I keep going back to this, why I think, like, if you get a dog through the likes of the DSPCA or Dogs Trust or something like that, it just makes the whole process much smoother. And you could even you can take the dog for foster for a couple of overnights, or you could even go on walks up in the shelter, and like it's a much easier way of doing it than just like arriving home with a puppy from a breeder and suddenly your dog is kind of slingshot into this new environment. Like, and it can be quite stressful for new dogs, particularly if there's a big age difference. Like, if you've got a 10-year-old dog and you come home with a puppy, like that is going to be hard for the older dog.
And I suppose, like you've mentioned, puppies, and you've mentioned so fostering dogs. I presume the dynamic is slightly easier again. Usually, I mean, obviously every dog is different, but usually when it's a slightly older dog, because, for example, if they've already been potty trained, that's one less thing, less stress on the household, right?
Yeah, it is. And the older dogs will be, they know that, it's not good to go to the toilet inside, and they might actually get quite stressed at that. So, it's look, I'm a massive advocate for people rescuing older dogs. I myself, we have, where is she? In the armchair. Harry's actually sitting on her right now. We rescued an older Rottweiler girl called Jessica, and like the difference in rescuing Jessie and rescuing Harry was night and day. Like, I sometimes forget Jessica's even in the house. Like, she's so chilled out. Yeah. Whereas Harry, like, all about Harry when he's zooming around. Like, come here, come on, say hello.
I suppose
say hello.
For later on in life, say even 1 or 2 years, you're not going to be able to tell right now how he is going to be as a fully formed adult dog. Whereas
no, not at all.
2-year-old or 3-year-old dog, you have a better idea of their personality, right?
Yeah, 100%. And also, it's like a puppy is extremely time consuming and hard. Like even me as a dog trainer for 12 years, like, and he still, I'm exhausted some days after
I can imagine.
Like, and it's just like, puppies are full on, like, and I feel like it's a common thing. It's a common, like, email and phone call I get, is that people, they're a little bit naive about what it's going to be like to get a puppy, and that you know, 4 or 5 months in, they can kind of be kicking themselves going, I didn't know it was going to be this tough. And like, you know, they'll message someone like me and say like, I need help because I can't keep doing this. Like I won't last on this path. Like,
Definitely.
and a lot of time people want me to have a magic wand, and I say, well, like, this is what a puppy is like, you know, and as well, particular breeds can be a lot like.
And this is exactly why that was going to be my next question was talking about energy levels, because realistically, you know, different dog breeds and different dog ages are going to have wildly different energy, and even the human part of the family. I mean, I don't have a lifestyle where I'm, you know, hiking up mountains every day and doing the type of work that a sled dog would want.
You've really hit the nail on the head there. That is the most important thing with deciding on getting a dog, and by getting the type of dog that you get, is that people need to be painfully honest about how much time and energy they want to be putting into their dog on a daily basis. Because it's all well and good to say, you know, oh, I can't wait to go on hikes. Well, you know, in November, when it's maybe, you know, lashing rain outside and howling wind, like, you're not going to want to be outside all day. So you really do have to be honest about how much you're going to put in every single day, because there's certain breeds that will go for 2.5, 3 hours a day easy. And people, like, it's the main kind of disconnect that some owners have, you know, and there's certain breeds that come to mind, like collies, Vizslas, you know, these kind of really like serious, like working breeds or hunting breeds. And there's a disconnect with, you know, that, you know, you need to do that every single day of the week, and that can become extremely tiring after a while. And I think that, like, people just need to be really honest about what they want to put into it, like.
And then someone's just written in here as well about, you know, teaching dogs what are good behaviours and what's expected in the household. So how should you be letting a new dog know that this is not acceptable behaviour?
So the best thing that I would recommend for that is by using, like, I have this, you know, say Rosie, sorry, you know, the sound that, like, you'd make when, like, a kid is going to, like, touch the hot fire, that
yes,
that sound, that's the best sound that you can teach a puppy, that no, that's not acceptable behavior. And for nipping as well, like, there's like, puppies are really good at teaching each other, like, bite inhibition, so they'll make this puppy squeal if they get bitten too hard. And you have to do that to your puppy as well when he's nibbling you. So if you don't do that, then your dog knows, he grows up learning that, you know, human skin is okay to bite, which is probably the most dangerous thing that a dog can know, like. So that those two sounds are really important when you're trying to kind of initiate your puppy into what's good and what's bad. I'm going to have to pick Harry up because he's going absolutely ballistic.
That's
Harry.
Completely fine. I think anyone watching this is going to completely understand.
Come on. Let's go. Get in there, you. Good boy. Good boy. You just sit up on my lap. Come here. Up. Oh. So no rest.
No rest for the wicked. And you mentioned already about bringing them for walks. So if your dogs are used to going for walks on their own, maybe you could allocate that time for them. As you start kind of growing in your dog family, and you're getting a third or a fourth dog, I mean, the amount of walks that a person can do in a day can be limited. So,
and like, me and my partner are like, you know, it sometimes feels like we're running like a military barracks and not a doggy household. Sorry, now Frankie's crying because I've got him out of the room. Actually, I'll show you, Jesse, what the difference in, you know. Where is she? You see her?
Okay, just about
very dark.
Yeah.
They do that.
She's very, very, very sleepy.
Yeah, she is. But she's like, I never even have to think about Jessica. Like, she's such a good dog, and that is the difference with, adopting an older dog, is that they just become pieces of furniture very, very quickly. Whereas, a young dog it's a lot of work. Like,
And
isn't that right, Harry? Isn't that right?
like Ruby, I suppose our friend, she's 3 years old now. You've met Ruby. She kind of has both of those personas. So right now at this hour of the evening, she's definitely more the couch potato, part of the furniture type,
which
of
is what
dog.
you want.
She won't be seen until after 8 tomorrow morning. Whereas during the day, when she feels like it, when the situation suits, she's definitely a lot more like Harry than bouncing around the place. So it's interesting.
Let me just check my notes. Do I see if I have any other things that I thought? Like the spatial management. That was kind of more about like how important like crate training is for more so for the puppy than the other dog. Like, I know a lot of people will use the crate initially, and then as time goes on, the crate will kind of get put into the utility room or whatever. But crating a puppy when there is other dogs in the house is just a very much easy way to kind of manage everything. Also, because they're not really aware of how much sleep a young puppy needs. Like, a young dog should be sleeping up to 21 hours a day, depending on the breed. Now, it's going to be hard to get any dog to go to sleep for that amount of time when there's other dogs and people in the environment. But a crate makes that much more manageable and kind of, the right word, like acceptable or attainable, probably. And then also, like, it's a good idea to get on to someone like me, someone who is like a dog trainer, if you're even thinking about this, and just have a conversation and, go working through, your own dogs and talking through the problem. You might find that, okay, this isn't actually a good idea, or it is, but it's going to need to be this type of dog, or it's going to need to, it's just like I feel like people sometimes, they'll only contact the dog trainer when shit has hit the fan.
And it's normally 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday as well.
And they're stressed out their mind. Like, but like, occasionally I do get phone calls of people who are just thinking about it, and that's a really nice conversation for me to have with someone. Like, and like, it's not all about fixing dogs that have issues. Like, sometimes, like, you just need to bounce ideas off someone in the industry, like, and we'll help you through the process.
Absolutely. I think you needed a trusted advisor. I mean, it's a huge decision and a huge kind of
making. I know this is probably the fourth time I've gone back to this. Once again, like, a shelter will do all of this hard work for you, and they might even find the right dog for your existing dogs.
Yes,
and that's a really easy way to do it.
So I want to be a little bit controversial and play devil's advocate now, and just put out the thought there that, is getting a second dog, a buddy for my dog, going to sort out all of my problems in my life?
No, and this is probably the biggest, like, rage-inducing question for a dog trainer, is that, like,
why I put a disclaimer before asking.
It's like, my dog has separation anxiety. I'm going to get a friend so that he has something. So he has someone during the day, and it's what actually happens then is now you have two dogs with separation anxiety, because
Exactly.
that's what happens with dogs. Like, they'll kind of just absorb whatever the environment they're in is, and if there's a stressed out dog in the corner that's having a panic response every time you leave, very quickly this new puppy that had no issues will start displaying the same behavior. So that is a massive, like, red flag.
I do
Boys,
apologize for asking the
no,
question.
you
I realized
have
that
to ask it. I was going to say it if you didn't ask it anyway.
I feel like I've already been banned from every rescue now in the country. This guy does not deserve a second job. But I think
no. It's not that. It's just that it's a common trope, that I'll get a friend for Billy because he's really sad when I go to work, and it's like now you've got two stressed out dogs that are chewing up your house because you leave. Like
exactly. And I suppose in dealing with those things, I know we've touched on this topic a couple of times over the last couple of weeks with others. People shouldn't be underestimating the power of a dog's mind and using that kind of brain power, licky mats and all the rest of it. All the
those Kong feeders, and also like crates are probably the most powerful way to deal with separation anxiety. The problem is that you need to literally either take time off work or be around the environment so that you can kind of build your dog up to be in the crate, because you can't just lock your dog up and go away. That's not how it works. Like you really need to ease them in and build up kind of build up like the ability to stay by themselves, like. And it's not a straightforward process, and some dogs it can be a really, really long kind of draining process for you. But certain breeds, like they can kind of they can maybe be a little bit harder to be left. Like I know the like labs and retrievers, they can be a little bit more sensitive when their owners aren't around, and it's probably just because they're big teddy bears and they genuinely are upset when you're not at home. Like, but I know retrievers in particular, they can get very sad when their owners leave initially. Like it can be a hard process to train any puppy to be kind of confident when you're not there. Oh, I'm gonna have to grab Harry again.
You're fine.
Harry, leave him alone. You're chewing Frankie. That's not that boy. That's your brother.
I apologize to Harry for having very high expectations of his patience this evening. It's a long amount of time for a little fur baby to stay.
I'm a bit under the weather, and this little man has been my nurse for the week.
Very good.
There's been lots of couch cuddles, hasn't there?
Oh, keep you going.
He's a good boy.
So I suppose, like, all in all, there's probably a lot of benefits. It sounds like there's a lot of benefits to having a multi-dog household if you get the balance right.
Yes. And you got to do it in a way that is respectful to the original dogs. Like, and I know I keep saying that, but they are the priority, and their happiness and their levels of stress. And that's something you need to be aware of. And you can't be selfish with this, and because you want another dog and you don't really care about the effect that will have on the other dog. That's the complete backwards way to look at it. You have to respect your original dogs and kind of constantly be analyzing, are they happy, are they comfortable? And like anytime I've been thinking about getting a new dog, I've done it, and every time I come home I'm always very strict in the thinking that this might not work out, and that's on me. And I'll be the one who will have to own that. And you can't force it through wishful thinking and hope, because these are animals, and like with people, they might not get on, and you can't force a relationship. Like, now luckily every time I've done it, it's worked out very well, but that's, I think, because I've done it in a controlled manner where I don't let him get in a situation where he's going to be, annoying his older brother and, making an enemy out of his friend. Like,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And I suppose in even trying to match a little bit the energy needs of the dogs might be a way of doing it. I understand you're a trainer. I don't have the same qualifications.
Yeah.
So again, I wouldn't be picking up on certain things maybe on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But I might be able to get an easier dog in a way, or a better match for our Ruby that's like sort of quiet time in the evening.
Also it's sometimes it's time and patience. Like initially, like they might not be the best of friends straight away. Like, but there can always be in your original dog, particularly Frenchies. Sometimes all bulldogs, they can be a bit like stubborn, and he or Ruby might not appreciate, if you're, say, cuddling a little Harry-sized dog, a bit of jealousy or whatever can come into it. So you kind of have to be respectful to, her, that, like, you're still important. Like, that's the kind of vibe you need to be giving off, like, and you need to be making an extra fuss over the original dog, like, and sometimes I'm quite kind of strict about that, because usually it's the complete opposite that happens in the house, and I see it when I come over to train a puppy, and the older dog is kind of like, like big sad eyes in the corner, and I'm like, you need to make more of a fuss, like.
Yeah, you're asking them to put up with a whole lot of changes in their lives.
Yeah, and they should be, kind of, what's the word? They should be like overly spoiled, on something, because it's as hard for them as it is for you to take on a new dog, like.
Definitely.
And you do. I know I keep repeating it, but you have to constantly be analyzing, like, is this worth it for my other dog, like, and are they better or worse, like, after this?
And I think your advice as well, just kind of to draw things up a little bit, you mentioned about the rescues. I think that's a brilliant idea, that if the dogs might have the opportunity to be able to go for a walk together first. Or,
and to be fair, good breeders will allow you the same. They might get you to come over 2 weeks before you're taking the dog home, and bring your original dog or your two dogs and go for a little walk around their property or something like that. But the problem is in Ireland is that, like, that's the ladder. There's so many bad breeders in Ireland. Like, we're the puppy breeding capital of Europe. And like, my problem is that like really, really decent, good breeders are kind of few and far between in Ireland. And now, obviously, I'm kind of radicalized because I just see the worst side of it all the time. But I do know, like, there is a lot of good breeders, and there is, what's the word? Like a kind of there is a push for ethical breeders, and for every puppy farm, I'm sure there is a empathetic breeder out there, but yeah, I just for second dogs, it is much easier if you have a team of professionals involved who can guide you through the process and do it in a safe manner. And you could meet a potential puppy 5 to 10 times before it even comes on foster, and that your dog really likes it, so that they have a friendship before it's even coming home. So that way, it's a much more it's a much kind of healthier dynamic for your dog. Like, set yourself, your dog up for success.
Set your dog up for success. Set yourself up for success.
Exactly.
It's really, really brilliant advice, Rob. I appreciate your time and expertise so much. I feel like we only scratched the surface of the topic. It's been absolutely brilliant talking to you.
I wish I wasn't sick, so I could